This is Conversations with Paycheck and Red, a weekly podcast with two good old boys talking about anything and everything that crosses their mind. You may not know what you're going to get with an episode of Paycheck and Red, but you sure know you don't want to miss it. So do what you got to do. Download the app, find the episodes online, and make sure that you don't miss 1 second of Conversations with Paycheck and Red.
What's up, motherfuckers? I mean, ladies and gentlemen, we're back. Paycheck and Red. You listen to another podcast of Conversations with Paycheck and Red. I'm Paycheck, and that's Red. Say what's up, brother.
What's going on, party people?
It's a special edition today. It's a special occasion. Today is officially 420. So in celebration, we're going to change things up a little bit. We're going to throw out some random questions. That way everybody can get to know Red and myself. Because I know for one that Red's one of those crazy motherfuckers. So a lot of these answers that he gives are probably going to be funny as hell.
Oh, and you're supposed to be like the altar boy here? You're pretty hilarious son of a bitch too now.
Well, they don't call me St. Johnny for sure.
I hear you.
So 420, it happens every year.
Yeah, every year.
What do you know about the history of this date?
I know that. Sorry, I'm chewing on ice. Is that loud? My bad.
Yeah. Oh shit. You know I don't like that, man.
My bad.
Now accepting applications for Conversations with Paycheck and whoever we can.
Paycheck and whoever, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like, growing up, I always thought and always heard, walking around in school and hanging out with my buddies that 420 was tea time in Holland, or it was the time that Cheech and Chong were born, and there's a bunch of other, like, Bob Dylan's a song called "Everybody Must Get Stoned," and he's got a song called what's it called? Let me think of it. "Rainy Day Women," number 12 and 35, and if you multiply 12 and 35, it equals 420. There's a bunch of rumors and urban legends surrounding it, but I've done some research, Paycheck. I actually got on my computer and I've done some stuff this morning.
Well, wait a minute. Let's back up. Tea time?
Tea time.
What the hell? I've never heard no fucking tea time. What is that reference to?
Tea time, like time for tea. Yes.
Is that 420?
Urban legend says it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, like every day at 4:20 p.m. they have tea in Holland or something, I guess is the urban legend. I mean, I don't have any specifics on it. That's just one of the things, one of the list of urban legends that I'm seeing on.
Oh, my bad. I thought you were taking notes. That's on me.
That's on. Well, no, but I
got that one.
I have heard, that it was international tea time, but tea time in Holland, I guess, would be more specific for the urban legend or whatever. And also, it's and this has nothing to do with the holiday 420 or the marijuana-based holiday 420, but it's also Adolf Hitler's birthday. So I don't really care about that. I don't give a shit. You know what I mean? But a lot of people reference Adolf Hitler's birthday as well.
I was not aware of that.
Yeah,
learned something new today.
Me either.
Appreciate it.
But in reality, the legend of the term 420 dates back to the 70s in California. Some high schoolers hanging outside of their high school that had a meeting spot that they used to smoke.
As we all did.
Oh, yeah. It happened in the fall of 1971, and a friend of theirs had planted a cannabis plant that he could no longer tend to. and he provided with that treasure a map for these guys to find it. And every day after school, they would meet at 4:20 at this specific spot in school, and they would get in
In
one.
school?
Well, not in school. They would meet in the parking lot
Oh.
at school, or they would meet somewhere at school. It started off meeting at school, but then after this Coast Guard friend of theirs had a cannabis plant that he couldn't tend to anymore, he'd give it to these guys and said, "Here's a treasure map. If you can find it, you can have it." So they met. They met every day at 4:20. They would get in their vehicle and they would smoke marijuana on the way to find this plant, and they would follow this treasure map around. And according to the story, they never found it. They never.
Sounds like an old Hardy Boys book.
Right. Yeah, they never found it. So it just became. But they would remind one another in the hallways, that it's day 4:20. We're gonna meet. Find this plant or whatever. And the name of the school or the street that the school was on was Lewis, or the name of the spot that they would meet at was called Lewis Street or something, I think. And they would say actually, 420 Lewis, but eventually they dropped the Lewis and it just became 420. So the term 420 was coined after that, and everybody it just stuck, and everybody just started using it. So.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure my kids get out of school for this day now.
I'm pretty sure that before it's over with, it probably will be a reality. I mean, it's as far as the legalization sweeping the country right now. I mean, it could probably happen. I mean, I'm not gonna.
Well, since this podcast is going to be about getting to know one another, we'll start right now. And my first question to be for you. It's a two-part question. Number one, do you remember the first time that you smoked cannabis? And the second part of that question. Now, that first part, I'm talking about the absolute earliest that you recollect.
Okay.
If you can remember your first time, that's what I'm looking for. But the part B of that question is, since we're talking about, the history of 420 and the kids and everything, when you were in high school, did y'all have a little spot at your school, just outside of school, student parking lot, maybe the woods to the left of the student parking lot where, the stoners and everybody hung out?
All right. To answer the first part of that question, the earliest I can ever remember smoking cannabis was probably, probably ninth grade. I would say I was probably 14.
In junior high?
No, that's high school.
What?
Yeah, high school.
How old are you again?
I'm 38.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I didn't grow up with ninth grade. 7th, 8th, and 9th was junior high where I grew up.
Yeah, see, where I grew up, it was 6, 7, 8. But it was outside in the parking lot of the school with my buddies that drove.
In the parking lot?
In the parking lot, yes, sir.
So y'all didn't have security riding the parking lot, or you didn't have keys?
We did. We were very elusive. And when they were just riding around too heavy, we would always there was the old, not like before Super Walmarts, and it was just Walmart. There was a small Walmart strip mall across the street from my high school, and we used to just shoot over there and smoke and then come back. But when we were feeling ballsy, and we would just spark one up in the parking lot.
So your first the first time.
Yeah, definitely.
You said was how old?
I was probably 14.
All right, and that was with who? Your friends?
My buddies, the upperclassmen that I befriended while I was in school. A lot of the guys that I came.
So you hung out with the older cat?
Yes, I did actually. Not a lot. I mean,
okay, wait. I'm going somewhere with this.
All right.
So your was there one individual that came to your group, and that's how like all you boys smoked together for the first time, or just you as an individual was hanging out with the older crowd and they were already doing it, and you just happened to wander in as they were doing it, or was it like dude, you got to try this, man?
No. Well, I mean, hanging out with the upperclassmen came later. I actually smoked cannabis for the first time with my buddies that are in the same grade as me. Like one of them got a hold of some, bought some from another kid, or stole some from their mom and dad, or whatever. You know what I mean? And we all smoked it for the first time together. It wasn't like it was peer pressure or anything like that. It was a cool thing to do. The
Why you peer pressure? Why'd you peer pressure those kids?
Well, hanging out with the upperclassmen came later after we became stoners,
Right.
and
Yeah, I hear
it was just they were cool, we were cool, we all smoked. You know what I mean? So it just became a thing. So.
Well, ask me the same question.
All right. Paycheck, when was the first time that you recall smoking cannabis for the first time, and where did your favorite spot wind up being?
Oh man, I appreciate you asking me that, man. I think the first time that I ever smoked was I can't say who it was. Let's just say it was a family member.
Mm-hmm.
And I got one of the roaches out of the ashtray, and I lit it on a burner, and hit it a few times. This was probably in 1985 ish, so I was probably 10 years old. Burnt my finger on the damn on the burner.
Wow.
Yeah, but the like socially, the first time I did it, probably about the same age as you. And I was with some friends in their backyard. And
Right.
I don't think it was their first time smoking, but it was definitely mine. And I remember them saying that you're not going to feel anything because it's your first time.
Right.
I remember being really bummed out about that.
Yeah, I've heard people say that before.
I'm like, so I got to get one out of the way before I can even.
Well, see, that's the thing, though. I remember being high my first time, though. That's the thing. I've heard that same thing, though, that you're not going to get high your first time or whatever. But I always remember being high for my first time, because I remember going to class and laughing my ass off about the dumbest shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think that's a rumor we can dispel, because I remember being high my first time.
Yeah. And part B of that question is, we had there's a place in our high school. It was outside. It's kind of where all the smokers hung out. It was called the Pit. Mm-hmm. So every now and then somebody would fire one up and just take a hit or just take a hit off a little bullet. Nothing obvious like passing around a blunt or anything like that. But for the most part, me and all my friends, we rode to school together, in somebody's vehicle, you know what I mean? Alternating or switching friends, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I ride to school with one of my buddies this day, another couple of my buddies the next day, and everybody always had it, so we just burned on the way to school. But I don't recommend that to the kids these days. Go in there and pay attention.
So you're not condoning the smoking of marijuana? Is that what you're saying?
No, not at all. Well, not going to high school and when you're young like that. Well, let's we're gonna move on. My next question for you would be that black stuff on bird poop?
Black stuff on bird poop.
Yeah.
The little speck on top.
Yeah. Do you know what that is?
That's still bird poop, right?
Yeah, it's bird shit. Ding, 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 ding.
Yeah. Well, here's
you weren't going on that one, huh?
Well, you almost got me. You almost got me, because I was looking. I thought you were expecting like a technical answer or something. But
all right, you got a question?
Yeah, it's another marijuana based question here. In the light of 420 here, what is your favorite way to partake in cannabis? Do you like pipes? Do you like rolling paper joints? Do you smoke it out of a mason jar? And you know what I mean? What's your favorite way?
Well, I'm not smoking currently, but in my days, I've always preferred a bowl, a glass bowl.
Mm,
I don't like the metal; just don't seem healthy. The
right.
papers. God knows what's in those these days. So I prefer it in the most natural, um, you know, way possible.
Right. Seems fair. Seems fair.
And I think that's the most natural way. In like if you're gonna go back like old school, like let's say way, way, way back in the day before we were civilized people. I'm sure cannabis was growing, and I'm sure people realized at some point that this plant's a little different than than the rest of them. So how would they smoke it? They'd probably smoke it in like wood bowl or something, right?
I would say so. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you go back to the times of um, the Indians and all that kind of stuff. They were smoking it out of pipes and all that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
I would say pipe or some kind of device like that would be their.
Yeah, but ain't you into vaping?
I
Aren't you
am.
like
I
aren't you
am.
hashtag vape squad?
Um, I wouldn't say vape squad, but I have been vaping. It helped me get off the cigarettes, and I've kind of backslidden over the last few weeks. And
Yeah, I was about to say,
part,
I'm pretty sure you were smoking over here at my wedding.
yeah, I've kind of partaked in cigarettes over the last couple weeks. Not very proud of it. You know what I mean? It's just something that kind of slipped. Um,
Yeah, it's all good. We won't get caught up in bashing Wayne today and
right?
where he's
Yeah, you're
failing.
making me feel bad, man, because I'm thinking about smoking a cigarette now.
You're not a failure, bro.
Um, yeah, I mean that's one of the ways I prefer to partake is vaping it. I came from the old school rolling joints and smoking those, so those are kind of my favorite.
Yeah, that's how I grew up. That was the first time I didn't get into bowls and apparatuses until I was an
Apparatuses.
adult. Excuse me?
I said apparatuses. He says.
Oh, yeah. All right. So my next question for you would be: have you ever did the whole hand smell after the ball touch?
Hand smell after the ball touch.
Yeah, I mean, at some point in a man's life, he's getting ready to go on a date. He's fixing to get a blowjob. You know what I mean? Or he's just walking around enjoying his day, and all of it. He's curious. How's my hygiene? Am I good? It's hot out here. I'm sweating.
Right.
So
Well,
I mean,
I'm not going to tell you that I've never done that because I'd be lying, and you would probably call me out on it anyway. Um,
yo.
so yeah, I've done that quite a
So
few times actually.
so when a man does that,
Right.
what is it that he's looking for? I mean, is he looking for tartness or?
I'm not a ball smelling connoisseur or anything here. um, Personally, I'm looking for funkiness. If I need to take a shower or you know what I mean, like it's mostly done. I don't just walk around like if I'm outside cutting grass and it's hot as hell outside. I don't just reach down and grab the old ball sack and give it a smell. You know what I mean? Like there's a reason for it. There's going out. Am I good to go out to dinner? Do I need to take a shower? You know what I mean? Like, I mean that's my reasoning for it. I mean it's not really just a random everyday thing that I do just to check and see if I'm funky or not. You know what I mean?
Well, if anybody wants to know firsthand what that smell is that men are looking for, visit your local truck stop and go into the men's bathroom, or just peek your head in there if you're a female or whatever, you know what I mean? But see, the problem with some truck drivers is that they don't have a home. They don't have family. So they literally live in that truck. And if they're living in that truck, they're in no hurry to get home or anything. So all they do is run, run, run. Some of them drive illegal. Some of them will go a week, 2 weeks without taking a bath. And when I walk into a truck stop in the morning, it's that smell is overwhelming. I want to bang on every door in there. Wash your balls. Dip your balls in the damn toilet while you're in there, motherfucker.
Dip your balls in the toilet.
Yeah.
A little bit of splash action.
Yeah.
I'm going to stray away from the 420 questions now. I mean, I'm sure we'll come back to it eventually because this is our 420 episode. But I've got just a random off-the-wall question for you. I guess yours have been random off the wall, asking how my balls smell and stuff.
No, wait a minute now. I didn't ask how your balls smell. I already know how they smell. And they stink, nigga.
Right. Who are, in your opinion, the 3 greatest living musicians right now? In your opinion.
Well, Jason Aldean's at the top for sure.
I knew you were going to say that. Why did I knew you were going to say that. Jason Aldean. I got to put my boy out there, Jason Aldean. That man has created friendships and he's destroyed them.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Jason Aldean.
My top 3?
Yeah.
You said 3, correct?
Right, 3, as in more than 2 and less than 4.
I had to count them out on my fingers. Right. I got it now, though.
Take your shoes off if you need to.
My 3, as you know, change often.
Mm-hmm.
So currently, I am into Bob Seger at the moment.
Okay, not who you're listening to. In your opinion, the 3 greatest of all time living musicians, not who you're listening to. We talked about music last week.
Oh, okay.
I just want to know who you think are your opinion as to who your 3 greatest living musicians now. 3 greatest living musicians of your time.
See, that's gonna be difficult, man. Your music history goes a little deeper than mine. You know, for me growing up in Europe, I didn't grow up listening to the radio and shit.
You've been in the States since you were like 13, Paycheck.
Yeah, I know.
You know but what music is.
Yeah, but now I'm real. Let's see.
All right, well, let me rephrase it then. Just off the top of your head, who are your 3 favorite living musicians?
3 favorite living musicians.
Yeah.
I like Whitey Morgan.
Uh-huh.
I like some of them I don't know if they're living or not. I don't listen to a lot of new music where people are alive. Most of the music I listen to, they're not alive anymore. Like I really like Johnny Cash. I really like his sound.
You're killing my question right now.
I know. I'm thinking, man. Like I said, I listen to a lot of old shit. I do like Jamie Johnson. I'm already starting to sell out a little bit. And I'm gonna go with Mookie Mill.
Okay, I don't even know who that is.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that there's a rapper out there named Mookie Mill.
Oh,
that's
man.
That's my top 3.
All right. Oh man, you totally killed that for me. Totally killed that for me. I was expecting a great answer from you, Patrick.
Yeah, I like Shakira.
Shakira, yeah, she's nice for the eyes for sure.
Yeah, I only like watching videos. I don't like listening to it.
True.
So what you got 3? Go ahead and bang them out. I'm sure you got yours off the top of your head already.
Okay, are you writing on my questions?
Yeah, I'm interested in your answer.
Do you not have your own list of questions for me?
Nope, I had 2.
You had when I started smoking cannabis and if I smell my balls. That's all you had.
No, I've got a few more on here. They're just
All
different
right,
topics.
all right, all right, all right, all right, all right. My three greatest living musicians. In my opinion, the three greatest living musicians. I would say probably Chris Christopherson for one. Um, Willie Nelson, and let's see. I kind of ruined it when I said living musicians, didn't
Yeah.
I? Wow, that's so many.
That's why it's called Conversation with Paycheck and Red.
Okay. All right. All right. All right. All right. My spot's getting emptier and emptier as I stand here. Dude, I don't even know. I'm talking shit about you not being able to answer, and I can't even answer. That is a hard one. I'm gonna go with Master P.
Yeah. Good answer.
I mean,
Did you get the P reference?
the man made a killing.
Yeah, he did. What was it? Dang, it just slipped my mind. What was
Make
the?
it say,
Yeah, but what was it?
nah.
Was it Cash Money Records or something like that?
Oh no, Cash Money is.
He had all of.
I don't know rap. I don't know rap. I don't know. It might be Cash Money Millionaire. Hell, I don't know. I don't even know. Don't even start me the line. I'm gonna make myself look stupid if I keep talking.
Let's smell the fake, ladies and gentlemen.
I don't. You're gonna make me look stupid if I keep talking about rap.
Stolen Valor.
Oh man, yeah, that's horrible. I know nothing about rap. Not new stuff. Anyway.
All right. Well, we'll move on to my next question. Give myself and our listeners a detailed but brief description of your first sexual encounter. Go.
My first sexual encounter: skating ring, dark corners, trashy girls with big poofy hair.
Now wait a minute. Now I'm not talking about the first time you went all the way. I'm talking about the first encounter.
That is the first sexual encounter. There's no intercourse involved, but the first sexual encounter I had was at a skating rink when I was probably 14.
So what? Y'all just touched each other? Y'all just pet?
Yeah, I wound up playing the banjo for a little while.
Oh shit! Y'all did more than that then.
Yeah. So, yeah.
And what a slut.
Yep.
Dude, that's not nice. You were supposed to stick up for her, Wayne. That was your opportunity to be the good guy, Wayne, and you fucking ruined it, dude.
All right, if she wasn't, I wouldn't have had my hand in her pants at 14 years old. So I'm just calling it like I'm seeing them, man.
You didn't roofie her, did you?
No. All right, my question for you would be: among your other group of peers that you see every day, you're in your ins and outs of your job and people you come in contact with, if you had to introduce me to them, how would you describe me to your other set of friends?
No, that's easy. This is my boy Wayne. That's my best friend. We go way back.
But that's not describing me. Like, you have to describe me.
Oh.
Not introduce me to them. Describe me to them.
Like your physicalities?
However you want. Like if you're saying no,
all
right, no, I'm saying if I was getting ready to be hired at your place at your business, right, like where you work or whatever, and they were asking you if you knew me, you would say, yeah, he's blah blah blah, and you would describe me to them.
First, I would tell them that I don't feel comfortable putting my name on nobody's back like that or having somebody on my back like that. You know what I mean? I don't know him all like that. I don't know his work ethic. I know him and his family. He's good people and everything, but I don't know if I'd hire him. I mean, I'm a truck driver. He's a painter. What the hell is he going to do over here? You know?
Are you getting literal right now? Are you being a little sarcastic asshole? Okay. All right.
No.
That's fair enough.
real. I'd be like, hey yo, check it out. This is my boy Wayne. You gonna meet him in just a little bit. He's a cool cat. He's down to earth. He's got good morals. Good. I don't want to use the word traditional. Maybe that's a little off, but he's a good guy, good family man. He works. I like him. You should hire him. But you better send him down there to the care spot for that urinalysis test.
Yeah. All right, that's fair enough, I guess.
What? You sound disappointed. That wasn't what you were looking for. What do you want me to say? He's got a big penis.
No, man. I was expecting a little more detail. I mean, I'm a good, hard-working family man, is what I got out of that. But that's cool. I mean, that's me in a nutshell.
That kind of sounds like Haji.
Yeah.
Well, he was a good
man. He was a good man. He worked hard, had a good work ethic. Hate to see him go.
Well, he's a ginger, so that probably tells you a little bit about his personality. He got a lot of tattoos. He's a robust fella, but he means well.
Robust. All right. Yep. You can stop anytime now. I mean, I'm getting worse and worse as you keep talking.
No, you're a good dude.
I started off as a hard-working dude, a good family man, and before it was over with, I was fat and tattooed. Jeez.
He's the kind of guy that, for all who hasn't seen Wayne before, he looks like he would have a Prince Albert. That's fair to say, right?
No. Wow.
Just kidding. I've really never personally met Wayne face to face.
You never really met me face to face.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I can see this relationship going downhill the longer this podcast continues.
No, listen, it's 420 could either bring people together or
right. Yeah, we can split them up. We're going to end the podcast on 420 because Paycheck is an asshole. No, it's all good. That's cool, man. I mean, that's how you see me. That's what I expected.
I see you as a friend. You know what I mean? I don't really see anything else. It wouldn't matter what you look like. You know what I mean?
You look past my robustness and all my tattoos.
Well, I mean, you asked me to describe you. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. Okay, that's fair.
I mean, you could be a short Asian guy for all I know.
Yeah, with a southern accent.
I will say one thing. I didn't realize you were as tall as you are.
I'm only 6 foot, son. I'm not like super tall.
Are you? Yeah. You are about 6 foot, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Even when I met you, I think the first couple times went by, and I didn't realize it, and something happened. I don't remember what it was, but I realized how tall you were. I'm only 5'10", so you know.
Right.
I'm average. That's what the doctor tells me. That's an average height for a man your age.
Yeah. So
I'm good with that. I'm good with that. I like it. I enjoy it. You don't hurt me none.
Right.
So who's was it your turn on the questions? Are you out of questions?
I just asked you to describe me to your friends, so now ask me a question.
All right, let's see. Your earliest childhood memory. Like it could be just be a little photograph that pops up in your head. Not an actual photograph, but just a screenshot of, like, you don't know the details because of course you were young or whatever, but you vaguely remember this part about when I was a little kid. Like before you say the memory, how old do you think you were? How far do you think you can go back? So you're 40, You're what, 38? You said
38. Yeah, I can go back as far as
18.
yeah, like yesterday. No, I can go back as far as um, I'd say 7 or 8, maybe.
Yeah,
Maybe a little younger than that. Yeah.
good. What's the memory?
Um, there used to be a huge tree in the backyard that I lived in. Huge tree, and I remember I was probably, this is not when I was 6 or 7 or 8. I was probably 11 or 12 actually. But this is the one memory that I always go back to whenever somebody says. But it was the coolest thing because it was a big, big oak tree, and when it came out of the ground, it was probably, I'd say 3 or 4 grown men could stand arm to arm around it. It was pretty big. Um, but it came out of the ground in the shape of a hand.
Yeah, that's
Picture,
creepy.
picture your hand. Hold your hand up and kind of like cup a basketball in your hand. You know what I mean? Like your fingers upward. You know what I'm
Like
saying?
this?
Yeah,
Like
like
this?
that, exactly like that. Um, that's how the branches and how the base of the tree come out of the ground. It was a huge tree, and it
Yeah,
had
that's
just
crazy.
it had just the right steps and just the right cracks and malformations in the bark and stuff to be able to climb right up into the palm of it, if you will. You know what I mean? And I would, me and my sister and a couple of the neighborhood kids would always climb this tree and play on top of the house. So, but when I first moved into this house, though, that tree always freaked me out because it looked like a hand coming out of the ground.
Yeah, probably because
Um,
you watched the movie Poltergeist.
yeah, 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 yep.
That was a great answer, Red. That was a great answer.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Do you have a question for me, or
I do. I do. Yeah. If I can find it on my paper here. I've got them kind of scattered out on a piece of paper. Um. Oh wow. I had it wrote down here. Where the hell did it go?
damn, you took that many notes where you can't find you can't find
Well,
them?
no, I had it wrote down on a piece of paper, but I think. Oh, here it is. Got it.
There it is.
Yep. All right. I want you to
Here we go again.
describe the color yellow. Okay. Describe the
This-
color yellow to a blind man.
I can say that I've never been asked this question before.
But keep in
We've
mind it is 420, and I was under the influence when I made these questions. So I went deep. I went really deep.
well, allow me just a hot second to ponder.
Okay. Yep. Do 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 do. Do 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 do.
Got it, Alex.
All right, let's hear it.
Okay, so a blind man. I would tell him. Well, first it would have to be daytime. If it wasn't daytime at the moment, I would tell him to meet me somewhere when it's daytime, about noon.
All right.
So then I'd have him look up at the sun, and he might not be able to see it, but I'm sure he could feel it. And I'm sure that I would think that even a blind person, that means that they can't see. I don't think they're in complete darkness. I'm sure some are, but
Right.
this was like if you go outside and with your eyes closed and you look up at the sun.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
I'd say that's the cut. It's bright and it's hot,
Right.
bright and hot.
Very good answer, Paycheck. I was expecting you to stumble over that one for a minute, but that was a very, very good answer.
Hey, dude, I'm deep.
I hear you. Only to the first knuckle, though, right?
That's it. No, no, no. No, we're not past the knuckle yet.
Okay.
We're at the first knuckle.
All right. So you're not that deep.
Right.
Oh man. All right. Shoot. Give me another question.
I think that's all the time we have for today.
Oh, come on.
All right, that was all I wrote down. Let me shoot from the hip here. Let me ask you a question that I truly want to know about Red here. Let's see. Kind of go deep here.
Make it good.
Okay.
Make it count.
Okay. Have you ever seen firsthand or experienced firsthand any kind of UFO sightings or spiritual phenomenon? Phenomenon? Phenomenon.
Phenomenon. Phenomenon.
I feel a phenomenon is that. Dun, 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 phenomenon.
Wow. I'm glad you asked this question, Paycheck. That's a very, very good question. Yeah. Back, I would say mid 2000s. I'd say 2009 or 10 or so. Back whenever my dad was still around, and we used to have safety meetings on the front porch of the house. I know what the first reaction to this is going to be, but we used to have safety meetings on the front porch every evening after work. And across the road from my house, there was a big open field. It was farmland because I lived out in the country, and most of the time it was open. You know, there was no obstructions or anywhere you could see sky and stars for miles.
Sounds beautiful.
It does. It was, and especially when there was corn growing across the road. That was really, really beautiful. But anyway, one particular instance, I remember sitting on his front porch, excuse me, and off in the distance, there was a star brighter than all the rest, right? And I just noticed it just out of the corner of my eye, just, wow, damn, that star's really, really bright, you know. But I noticed, and I know I'm not really keen on astronomy and all that, but I know the Big Dipper, the Little Dipper, where the North Star is, and all that kind of stuff. So I know where the North Star is in the sky. So I knew that was not it. It kind of wigged me out a little bit. So I kept, out of the corner of my eye while I was hanging out with my dad, I kept, my eye on it. And out of the corner of my eye, I seen it move. Not in a slow motion, but in a fast, like really quick, sudden change of direction. You know what I'm saying? And I pointed it out to my dad. I said, dude, look at that. I know you've seen that, right? He was like, no. I said, keep looking at that bright star right there. And I pointed up to where the star was at, and we were both standing there looking at it. And while we were standing there, it went from one star, right? And it, like, kind of in sequence, kind of like a flashing sequence, kind of turned into two stars. Okay?
Shut the front door.
Buddy, if I'm lying, I'm dying. And then those two stars, like the second star in sequence, turned into a third star, right? And then the third star in sequence turned into a fourth star. So at this point, there are four of these things lined up in a great line, in the sky, and they were flashing in sequence. Okay, I'm not gonna say it was a spaceship or a UFO or anything like that, but it was some crazy phenomenon in the sky that I seen. And no, it was not the cannabis talking. I actually seen it, and I had a witness. And if my dad was here today, he would tell you the same thing.
He saw it as well?
He saw it as well. He watched the whole thing unfold right before his eyes, just like I did. And we talked about that shit for days after that. And every time we got out on the front porch and was having our safety meeting, we never seen it again.
Okay, so at any time after, I mean, that's super cool. I don't want to take away from your story, but at any time afterwards, like, did your butt hurt or anything?
No, my butt did not hurt.
You can account for each minute that passed.
I can.
Like you didn't lose a minute here and there or nothing.
Nope, did not.
Well, you're probably safe then. You're probably safe. Nothing to worry about.
No, I felt safe. I can account for every minute because we continued to have our meeting of safety while we were looking at this whole thing unfold there. So I can account for each pass back across the porch. So I did not lose any time, nor was I probed at any point in time. So I think we're good on that part. But that was probably one of the craziest things I've ever seen because I couldn't explain. It was definitely unexplained because I couldn't explain it. My dad couldn't explain it. We didn't hear anything on the news about, a weird plane in the sky or anything, anything like that.
Did you guys not call it in?
No, didn't call it
probably
in.
A good thing. You'd had guys in black suits show up.
Right. Yeah, that would not have been cool. But it was definitely trippy and probably one of the craziest things I've ever seen in the night sky for sure.
Well, if the story that you're telling had happened on 420, it would make this the ending of this podcast fucking amazing.
I can't remember the exact date.
Can you just go with me here? Can you fucking roll with me, brother?
I can't. It happened on 420. How fucking crazy is that?
Wow, dude, that is crazy.
Dude, it was the craziest thing. I just happened to look down at my phone and I was like, "Oh shit, it's 420."
Yeah, that's damn.
While this whole thing was unfolding, it was just the craziest thing.
So this is actually the anniversary date of your experience.
My lights in the sky. That's what I call it. Yeah, my lights in the sky. Incident.
On 420.
On 420. Yes.
That sounds like a box office hit.
It does. It kind of reminds me of like some the Independence Day kind of shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. All right. Well, there it is. Perfect ending to another badass podcast. Conversations with Paycheck and Red.
Yeah.
We'll see y'all next time.
Oh, so we're not gonna tell them about our social media stuff. We're just gonna cut them off like that and not give them anything. Excuse me.
Sorry. The person you have called.
You can't even finish it. All right, so guys, check it out. We are on Facebook, Conversations with Paycheck and Red. Look us up. Questions, comments, concerns, future topics, the whole 9 yards. We are on Instagram, Paycheck and Red _podcast. We're keeping you updated on the topics and the episodes coming up and all that kind of good stuff and just our daily happenings between Paycheck and myself. We are miles away, but we still interact day to day, and it's some pretty funny shit. So we'll
on social media, post videos on there, post interesting content. You see a funny ass meme, post it on there. If you see,
yeah, definitely,
post it on there. We'll talk about it. Get involved. Help us out. We're all in this together.
Yep. And if you are anybody from the government that has any questions about my incident with the lights in the sky, you can email us at paycheckandred@yahoo.com.
That'll do it. See ya.
Later.